Hey guys, so this is going to be a recap for Thursday, August 6th. So today was kind of today had some nice plays. We had a very nice chop and whipsaw too throughout the day. I'm going to kind of just show my read for today. First, before, like you guys know, I always check SMH, I always check the video like on the day starting. So something I looked at on the video, right? As we were coming to this floor, I was looking kind of at like this double bottom over here, or just at these lows for Nvidia to catch a bounce, and that's what I kind of looked at last night. So I saw this 220 node, and I saw this node was kind of strong and positive, had a lot of strong gex to it. So I was also looking at this. Okay, we had this double top, so we could also triple top here, and we could see some resistance. Now, in the morning, right away, I saw Nvidia had a strong floor, so I was like, all right, Nvidia has a strong floor. Indices, if they align, could catch a bounce. So that was Nvidia. That was my read on Nvidia. Saw we had this 220 floor kind of whole day. It didn't really leave off much exposure. Come over to SMH. You guys know I like to look at SMH. We had this 560 positive floor, which also aligned with indices, and we had this king node all the way up back at 572.5. So we had negative gamma to the upside with pull as well. So I was kind of more like I was looking for a bullish open. Now, this is where I will go over to the indices and see what are we doing today. So in the morning, right, we had a gap up. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is not the right day. This is today, right? Oh, today's August 6th. All right, so this is the open. So what do I notice in this open? I'll also explain all these levels and why I have them marked throughout the day, because this also helped me do some technical analysis on reading the maps today and helped me as well. So in the morning, what I saw, right, we had this QQQ 710. This was a strong negative node. So this node was kind of an indication that, okay, indices could catch a bounce. It seems like we're overshooting. They also put in a 709 node. Now on SPY, right, we had a positive, strong floor here that I was looking at. And SPX had this, what we call a stubborn node at 7525, where price kind of it's played a lot throughout the day off this node and stayed around, but this is kind of a strong positive node on SPX. So we had this strong node. Now, what I'm looking at is that, all right, well, we've had this bounce up here, and then we made this top. So I played longs off of this, and this also aligned with, on NQ, a level I had at 278. And if I just turn on the indicator for the day to mark out the IBs, we also swept out London low. So once I saw that, I was kind of waiting that, all right, we were below this level in pre-market. Once we got above, basically played longs on the way up off that reversal. Now, where it is, all right. So now I marked out this low as a potential area for a double bottom. Same on SPY. Now, after QQQ was pretty much making high days while ES or the S&P was kind of lagging behind. So what do I see? This also aligned with the SMH and the NVIDIA strong node. So QQQ looked very bullish to me. And off of some of the trades NASDAQ, like this looked like a good long. And SPX had the air pockets up and everything, so it looked pretty good. Now over here, we ended up tapping out. And something I also want to put in note was that if we come over to ES, we took out all the liquidity and all the overnight's highs and lows. So the overnight Asia high, London high, we took out those highs and perfectly reversed. Now ES is taking out major liquidity at the highs, and NQ already took it out. So we were kind of just waiting for that draw on ES. And now I saw once we got below like the NQ Asia high, we kind of started getting the reversal, right? So I was like, all right, well we have this top over here on SPY and SPX, and then we have this QQQ top as well that we made. So kind of what I was looking at is like, all right, well, like if we get kind of like a pullback, we could get a double top. So today I also I can't even lie, like I scalped pretty much the whole day. Like every single move, I played almost every move today. Like I literally felt like a sniper, just catching every bottom, every top. So I was kind of just playing the range. So we had like this floor over here where I was kind of looking for a double bottom, where we got the double bottom here and we got a pump off of it. Now in QQQ, right, I set the ceiling up here at 1024 as an area where price could double top from and reject from. So we came back down, we tested this QQQ 716. Something I want to point out, let me go to that time where 716 became relevant, because the reason this node is really relevant is I'll show you why I played calls on it. All right. And this is something you have to always be looking out for. All right, so it's around here, right? QQQ is coming to 716, or it's at it. So pay attention to 716, right? We see this node, it's at 5 mil, right? Let me skip 1 minute, 2, 3. King node all of a sudden, right? Look at this, 716. Node was 3 mil. Look at that on QQQ. 3 mil to 51. The exposure was like, I mean, look at his number, 1200%. That's insane exposure. And what is aligning with this, right? We had this double bottom I was looking at SPY and SPX from the morning. So we had kind of this double bottom I was looking at here. And this also aligned with this QQQ double bottom that I was potentially looking at too. Or, yeah. And that 716 was very strong. Now, basically, I was betting on the fact that this rug on QQQ doesn't play out because it bounces to 716 and we had the air pockets back up to 718. So we get the bounce where I played calls at. Now, the only thing I'll mention here is that we also had these gatekeepers. So when I played calls, I was watching for 771 because it was a strong positive and SPX 7735. Because if these gatekeepers hold as ceilings, that price won't really see much higher, right? And 718 on QQQ. So like that was a short-lived trade. That was my exit. Now, I didn't catch these shorts, but it was a pretty good short where we double topped on QQQ, dark pools on SPX and SPY, and we got the run back down with those positive nodes. So although I didn't catch this, it doesn't mean it wasn't a good trade. Double top on QQQ as well as topping out on these dark pools and these positive nodes. I would say this was kind of like a A setup. And I wouldn't put it A plus, but it was a pretty good A setup. So we had that for today. Remember, like Nvidia's also, I'm pretty sure, was hitting a ceiling at the time, if I'm not mistaken. And now just looking at QQQ, SPY, and SPX, kind of seeing what we did. So that was like around like 12. Now over here, so wait, was this the double top or? No, well, this is when we had the flush actually. So we had the flush down here, and then we ended up having this bottom. So we had kind of like a double bottom here, where I marked out the SPY, this kind of SPY area. And then we got the retest, so this is where I actually was looking to play longs. And Falcon also, like Glitch told us, Falcon gave an alert for calls here. So it had a nice run up, and it ran back up to the 769 here on SPY, and we also had like this small negative node here on the SPX, and then QQQ, right? Same level again, like from this morning where we had the double bottom, this level flipped as support from resistance. So now this is a strong level I had on QQQ for resistance. So we had this nice short back down, and then we also came back and we basically had a nice retest of the SPY king node, SPX king node hitting it by that plus or minus 5, and then QQQ pretty much is double topping right here, right? You see the double top 716.4. So it's kind of technical analysis I'm looking at throughout the day. These double tops, these double bottoms, all these internal liquidity sweeps and everything throughout the day. So I see that like it was a pretty nice short all the way back down, and we kind of we played in this range, right? So we had this whipsaw and chopped range just because of the stubborn node here on SPY at 768. It was a very strong positive node, and we also had like some nice longs off of it, shorts, and then like shorts again. And we kind of had like another double bottom. Like those are some things to look at throughout the day. Now, also remember the strong QQQ level we had for today at 71561. I played shorts here into mock. So I was already short, holding shorts into mock, and this is why I also said I'm going to look for a dump at mock to 713 on QQQ, because I was kind of expecting 713 to get hit. Now, if I go back on replay and go to mock, 325, I see that we have air pockets down to 713. So I was kind of betting on the fact that QQQ might see that low, and we did not. So we actually got that was the bounce, and then over here was the short, all the way back down, and we got another bounce again. And then over here for mock, because like I'm already in shorts, so I'm kind of betting on the fact that if you look at QQQ, right, we got like those negatives back down, and then SPX also has this rug that could pull us back up. So that's something to look at. I mean, the 768 here on SPY. Now, something I do like for mock was that when we got the dump down that I wanted, we also double bottom again on SPY and SPX. Very important floor I had for today, and I played longs off of it literally after we got here, and we got the nice bounce, and then boom, we pretty much got a small overshoot of the SPY, very strong floor, and then you can see how the nose shift. We got 716 again on QQQ, and then yeah, I was already out the trade, but today was pretty nice, I can't lie. And then analyzing these double tops, these double bottoms throughout the day are very important. I normally trade order flow, so I'm normally watching as orders come into the market, but today when I'm kind of doing my own technical analysis and having to look at these structural levels and then doing my own technical analysis. But also like going on to some of the trades I took, right? Uh, if I drew a fib from I believe the IB low to the IB high, we never got a retest of anything over there. So now if I draw the fib from session high to session low, what do we see over here when I played calls at the Asia low? We had a nice 50% retracement, right? So at equilibrium, we had the Asia low. I mean, this is where I played longs again. So had a nice long back up, and then I also identified a range right here on NQ. If you see the range I marked out with these tops and these bottoms, this was the range where I was kind of just playing longs and shorts, just like calls and puts, like up and down, pretty much stayed in that range. And you'll see earlier I also had this marked down in ES where we had this fib, and we were also like rejecting the 50% on ES. So that was pretty important to look at, and we kept finding resistance here and kept tapping back like the Asia low area, and these were like kind of tops. So kind of identifying that range, knowing where dream we are in whipsaw, and knowing how to fade the top and the bottom. So yeah, hopefully this helps you guys and you guys can start kind of reading the market like how I do, and just identifying like this range to play in, because there's like some nice 30% scalps you could have played up and down, up and down. I'm on NQ, so I'm not worrying about data. So, I mean, these plays played out pretty well. So, hope you guys enjoy. And, yeah.